Hello, my name is Jasmine. I'm an illustrator working on a medieval comic called Girl Night, and for today we're gonna have kind of a short vlog, I don't know, but there won't be too much structure. I'm just gonna record for a few days and yeah, that'll be it. If you've seen my videos before, it's pretty much working on drawing this comic. I am very active on my Patreon, which is mostly where I've been hanging out. I post exclusive vlogs on there as well, and all of the pages that I've been drawing, which are slowly being published on Webtoon. If you want to read literally all the pages that are available, check out my Patreon. Today I'm going to try to finish page 5 of the 3rd chapter, and I think that's like page number 50 of all the pages, which is crazy to think that I've drawn 50 pages already of this story. Last week I finished the top part, and I'm hoping to be able to finish this part. He's so cute. So that's it for the intro. Let's jump in. It's Friday, 3:15 in the afternoon. I'm finally sitting back down again after going for a hike with a friend and then going to the gym with another friend. It's been a very active day, and I'm ready to sit down and get a lot of story work done. Yesterday I finished that drawing and I just posted it on Patreon, so if you'd like to see what references I used to draw some of those panels, it was posted there. What's on the agenda today? I have these books to go through. Well, that's my notebook, but these books to go through still for research. I've read these 3 and I've read half of this one, so I pretty much have to finish reading this one and just look to see if I added any notes into my notebook on what I learned from these other 3 books. I also finished reading this big ol' beast of a book. I made a Patreon post about this book and how I needed to read it. During this week, I read through it. It took me like 4 hours to read this monstrosity, and I took a bunch of notes. I just want to go over it one more time and make sure that I don't have anything else to extract from this book, so I can keep it in the box and like tuck it away somewhere, because it's so big in this tiny apartment that it's definitely in the way. So go through it one more time before it stays in its coffin forever. I want to revise the script so that I can personally say that the script is a solid second draft. There's also scenes that I need to flesh out, like for example the tournament section, which is what I mainly still need to finish my research on. The tournament section of the story, there's gaps in the scenes as well as gaps in the dialogue, because I really did feel like I was missing information about how tournaments were run, and I'm hoping that with the research I'm also going to be generating ideas for bridging those gaps in the scenes. It pretty much is research and then writing on the script. If I feel like it, I will start drawing page 6 of the comic. If not, I have all day tomorrow to do some more drawing and some more revising, but that's pretty much what's on my agenda for the rest of the weekend. It's revising and the comic. Also, if you're wondering what this is, it's my protein shake since I just came from the gym. I've been gaining muscle, and it's literally because I'm making sure that I'm consuming a lot of protein on top of my workout. So back in the past, I used to work out but never gain muscle, so I genuinely believed that like my body wasn't capable of growing muscle. But lo and behold, these past 3 months, since I've been in a much more aggressive fitness journey, what I was missing was protein. It's really quite simple. This is it. It's a beautiful book. Even the edges are tricolored. I'm right in front of a window, so the lighting's very weird. I finished going through this book again. I had written a double page of notes. Very useful. To tell you a little bit about this book, it showcases a specific book made by Maximilian I. He was Grand Prince. I don't remember exactly his title, but he was a royal, and he loved throwing tournaments and banquets at the end of the 1400s. This does take place like 80 years later than when Girl Night takes place. Tournaments were a little bit different almost 100 years later, but I still feel like this is very useful because there are not a lot of accurate records or depictions of tournaments. So regardless if this is 100 years later, it's still a very useful resource for me. And in the 2 pages that I wrote of notes, the coolest thing that I derived out of that is learning that some of these German knights actually had exploding shields, which sounds just as cool as what they are. When some of them would joust, this was like a specific type of joust, they would wear these shields that were attached to the armor, and they had a like spring mechanism that if the opponent's lance were to land on the sweet spot of that shield, the shield would actually explode into different metal fragments. So it would in essence create kind of like this show for everybody. The book said that it would be like a fireworks display, and the actual illustrations, it just looks like shards of metal flying, which doesn't sound super safe, but it's for entertainment's sake. That sounds really freaking cool, and I'm definitely going to add that into Girl Night, even though that probably didn't exist 100 years prior to this, but I definitely want to take a few liberties showcasing like the wider range of some of the weird stuff that happened in the Middle Ages. It's 6:30. Definitely need to eat something. I finished going through that other book and I'm kind of over reading research stuff, so I'm gonna switch gears and get to the actual script revision now. It's 7:30. I am so tired. I'm very much tempted to start wind down time and read for the rest of the evening, but I would like to make a little bit of a dent on the script. As far as the books that I finished processing, these guys, honestly, one of these, this one, or actually both of these two are not very useful for me, so I might end up donating them just because the contents are too general, too basic about the Middle Ages, versus this one, it can get pretty niche. So very interesting, but unfortunately for my project, this focuses more on England than France, so it's an interesting book, but you can tell that I didn't annotate much in it because it's mostly English stuff, not French. All that's left research-wise is to finish reading this book. The reason why it has taken me so long to read it is because look at this text. They are very long paragraphs and hardly any pictures. So it's quite dense and I'm halfway through it. So that's it. This is the only book left in my entire research list of books to go through. So not too bad. And this one focuses solely on tournaments. So I have time to work on the script before I really do have to finish this book and finalize that tournament section of the story. I hope all of this is making some sense. I'm gonna work on the script for about an hour and then wind down time with the book. The script is divided into 4 acts on my Scrivener file. Everything in green I actually have already thumbnailed in the comics, so there's really no room for me to fix the script. So I'm starting on chapter 5 of Act 1, and as you can see, it's going to be a Christmas scene, but a lot of things are going to happen during this big Christmas scene, so I've divided the scenes into interactions and important conversations. You can pretty much see that I am about a quarter of my way into the script. There you go. I think now you have an idea. I'm a quarter way. It's 8:12 and I am very tired. I forgot to mention that I finally went to bed at 3 in the morning last night reading. Even though I was tired, I just could not fall asleep. So I managed to finish reading this book, which was so slow to start. I was dragging my feet reading it, and then by like the second half, the main character just got so politically like badass. It was a good time. Even every hour I was looking at the clock and it was like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and I was like, oh my god, what am I doing? It's so late. I have not really made much of a dent on the script today. What I really want to do right now is to read the next book that I have from the library. I think I only have like 4 days left with it, so I really do need to start reading it. But the script is more important, so I'm gonna put a 30-minute timer and just focus on the script and then call it a day. Actually put in 45 minutes and revised 6 scenes. I actually could keep going, but because I slept so badly, let's just chill for now. I'm gonna make some tea and get to bed. Blah, blah, blah. I love it when he does this. He just like cranes his head into his little body. So cute. I hate to disturb him, but we gotta go. For tonight's reading, I am starting the Ballad of Never After. It's actually the sequel to Something Broken Hearts. Here's the cover for that one. The third book is gonna come out, I think, in December, so I'm kind of screwing myself over with yet another cliffhanger if I finish this one. But I had to wait like a month and a half to even be able to get this second one through the library. So I think everybody is gearing up to be able to read the third book when it comes out. So I will take what I am given. Thanks, library. Hello, it's Sunday, 11:30 in the morning. I woke up at 8 and got back to revising my script. I don't want to give you spoilers, so I finished revising all of the last chapter of Act 1, and I've started Act 2. I'm on the second chapter of Act 2. I didn't actually have to do too much revising from those scenes. They're kind of pretty solid. I know that in terms of this whole revision process, where I'm really going to have to use my noggin, the second half of the story. Act 3 onwards is where I really will need to do a lot of editing, so I'm working my way to Act 3. It's the second half of the story where you really are now diving into the exploration of these characters and spun a very complex plot. So that's where it's gonna get tricky, and I'm, like I said, working my way up there. I've made some tea, I cleaned Clyde's cage. There's still a lot of, I'm so dark here. I have to do a lot of housework today. In between breaks, I'm doing those. The next thing I need to do is clean the floor, so I'm gonna put in like an hour and a half of this script stuff and then do more chores. Just went through another chapter. I'm finding little notes that I made myself that I don't remember writing, and I have to address the notes. For example, at the top of this scene, I added this note which says that Rodrigo, one of the knights, he must point out that while wearing armor and competing, you have to make an extra effort of moving dynamically so as to not look stiff under the armor. This is actually a note that I must have pulled from Luis Zapata, an actual historical figure that I believe wrote a book on medieval jousting. Contemporary, so very early reference. I must have read something and decided that Rodrigo should embody that point. So it's funny that I wrote this. I definitely have to add it somewhere in this scene. I like that. I really am trying to focus on this script and not try to get too distracted, because the whole point of this is to be immersed in the story so that you can kind of catch plot holes. Also really get the sense of the theme and all that. Try not to take too many breaks so that you really can get a good sense of the story. And in doing so, I'm looking at some of these notes that I wrote and I don't remember writing them, and it's cool to be having like a conversation with your past self and your future self. It's very weird. Where I'm at in the script is second phase of training. Here we kind of finally go into more about jousting and the training involved in jousting. I don't touch upon it too much because the point of the story isn't really focused on jousting, and that's also because Alice doesn't joust. So I just want to touch upon it, but I don't want to focus too much. And knowing that the story is so long, it's scenes like these that I have to really consider, like, how important are they truly to the story? Is it benefiting the plot? Like, if I remove the scene, will it change the plot at all? So if I truly want to make this point about jousting, I have to connect that somehow to the main plot during the tournament, which actually I just had an idea that maybe we could, because there is a scene with Rodrigo jousting in the tournament and something does happen. Maybe we can plant a little something in the scene to make it relevant and tie it to the future scene. More interested in the story, I have writing vlogs here. Here's a playlist showing how I was writing the first draft of this story. So to me right now, this is kind of working through a second draft. If you're curious, check out those writing vlogs. You'll get a lot more about the stories. I try not to provide too many spoilers, but it's still interesting to see like how I developed some of these main plots. It's exactly 2 o'clock. I already swept half of the apartment. I'm not gonna take a break just yet. I'm gonna maybe do half an hour of this. It's 4:15. I worked more on the script. I pretty much reached halfway of the story, and I was able to plan out the second page of my pitch. Like, it's mostly going to be words because it will be describing the entire plot, but I wanted to add some decorations. I need to list out all the artwork that I need to make, so it's good to know that I now have an idea for page 2 of what's probably going to be what? A 7-page pitch? I definitely need a break now. I'm going to do all those chores and then get to drawing. If you want a bird, be prepared to clean up their mess every day. Look at that clean floor. You having fun there, buddy? I did it, you guys. I finally cleaned the floor. And it's 7:40 in the evening. So what had happened was I made dinner, I sat down, and I went to read The Beauty of Darkness, which is the 3rd book in a series I've been reading. It's good. You know, I never like to give very much of an opinion about books that I read, especially when it comes to fiction, because I feel weird voicing my opinion in public. As a creator myself, I would really hate to hear other people talk about my art willy-nilly. So I do feel weird dispensing any type of review publicly. But I will say that I cannot stop reading it, so that tells you something about how entertaining this book is. So I read that for a few hours. I think like 2 hours. I just really needed a break. Finally did the floor. That was the last thing that I needed to do for my chores. Hallelujah. I don't know what's going on with my hair. I don't know what's going on with my outfit, but that is what happens on weekends when I am alone. I hope you don't mind. What's next is finally doing the drawing. I know I said tea, but I changed my mind. It is the end of the week, and I finished all of my chores. It's time to celebrate. For today's drink, an alcohol grape wine specialty. Whatever that means. I got it free at the winery that I went with my family yesterday, so might as well try it. I have no idea if it's good. It's delicious. It tastes like their peach wine.
This is such a fun Halloween decor though.
Oh yeah.
And I thought this is...
Do you hang that?
You can, yeah, we'd have to find like something.
I just got this isometric template. You can't tell, I'll show you right now. But I'm very excited to finally use it. Okay, it's exactly 10 o'clock and we're both going to bed. So that is the conclusion for this vlog. I really was gonna just make it a weekend vlog, but I realized I think I started this vlog on a Thursday, so there's that. Reminder that if you'd like to see every page that I draw for Girl Night, check out my Patreon. I make posts several times a week about what I'm doing and my thoughts about things for the project. But overall, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!